I, male 37, have been with my fiancée, female 37, for 2 years. We're getting married soon and I've only met her family a couple of times. My daughter, Judy, teen, had never met them until recently when they hosted dinner, and that's when they met her for the first time. Judy has a visible burn scar on her forehead. It was due to an accident when she was a little kid. She used to be incredibly insecure about it, to the point where I was forced to homeschool her and it was hard trying to deal with and navigate through this rough time. Now she's doing a lot better, though some comments can cause her to become stressed out and anxious. My fiancé knows all that and respects it, so before we went to her parents' house, I asked her to tell them about Judy and her struggle and get to try and not say anything negative about it or possibly mention it. She said she would guarantee no one would say anything. We got to the event and they talked to Judy and she slowly warmed up to them. Everything was going well till dinner time. Then my future mother-in-law looked at Judy while eating and pointed at her scar. Basically, asking questions about it made Judy lose her appetite and become uncomfortable. I kept sending my fiancée and her mom signs to knock it off, but to no avail. Finally, mother-in-law brought up the wedding and asked my fiancé if it'd be possible to Photoshop the scar out of any wedding photos, with Judy in them, just in case they distract viewers. I was dumbfounded. My fiancé said nothing and just stared casually while nodding. I looked at Judy, and it was clear this got to her. I leaned closer and asked if she was feeling uncomfortable and that we could leave if the answer was yes. She took her time, then nodded and said, "Yes, I'm feeling uncomfortable right now." I got up and told her to get ready because we were leaving. My fiancé, her mom and the family started insisting we finish dinner and stay, but I refused. I took Judy, got in the car and left before talking to my fiancé. Obviously, she was angry. She called and was angry, talking about how I disrespected her parents by taking Judy and leaving in the middle of dinner and not even saying goodbye. I told her that Judy felt uncomfortable with mother-in-law's comments and questions. She said Judy overreacted and needed to go back to therapy if a simple mention of her scar caused her to react that way. I got tired of arguing and asked her to give us some time. Still, she kept on and said that I had no respect for her and her family and that what I did was irrational, and now she won't speak to me till I clear things up with her family after ruining their celebratory dinner. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Oh, OP, your fiancé has shown her true colours. She doesn't in fact care about your daughter. If she did, she would have realised that your future mother-in-law suggesting you Photoshop out the scar so it doesn't distract is damn insulting. If I were you, I'd rethink the wedding and that family. They owe you and Judy an apology, not the other way round. Your mother-in-law recommended digitally altering your daughter's face in wedding photos to avoid distracting people. Yet you're the one who disrespected her, who points to someone, especially a child's face, and goes, "Wow, that's ugly." You will be a giant idiot if you marry this woman who bullies your daughter and lets her parents do it too. This is it. Even if she wasn't that self-conscious about the scar, asking to Photoshop features of the husband's daughter with both of them present at the table, oof. Sadly, you just got a glimpse of how your marital life is going to be. First, wife will make promises, and then she and her family will do or say whatever crass, cruel thing they feel like. If it were me, they could Photoshop the whole dang wedding. Seriously, throw the fiancé out with the bathwater. She had 2 chances to redeem herself. She could have asked her mother to mind her business diplomatically, or she could have told her mother to shut up. She chose neither, which means she will never pick your daughter. Get your ring back and move on, because they will torment your child. I, 26 female, have a sister, 28. Let's call her Josie. Josie is a mother to 3 little kids. The father is a really absent parent and not around much. He works the night shift and then sleeps all day. I feel bad for her because it isn't a fair situation and she doesn't get any time to herself. The situation is as follows. My sister invited me to hang out on Saturday night. I agreed to come around and hang out with her, but she said she would have to leave to run an errand at some point. Cool. She said she'd be half an hour. So could I look after the sleeping youngest child, toddler, while she quickly nipped out? I reluctantly agreed. The other 2 kids had been dropped off at our parents' for the weekend, so I understood she would want some time to run an errand she usually wouldn't have time for if it was only half an hour. So she promised it would be. I come over and we chat, catch up and watch a movie. It's really pleasant until she says she has to leave for that errand and leaves me instructions on what to do in case the kid wakes up, but says to call her because she's only around the corner. I'm on edge because I struggle a lot with terrible anxiety and panic disorder. I'm currently in therapy and experimenting with meds to manage. However, we haven't found anything that works yet. She knows this and knows I would really panic and can't look after a kid for longer than she initially promised. I'm just not there mentally to be able to deal with crying, for example. Anyway, half an hour passes and she still isn't back yet. 45 minutes. I call her and ask if everything is okay and when she'll be back, and she answers after multiple rings. She said something came up and she'd be another hour, maybe an hour and 15. I basically lose my crap and say if she's not back in 15 minutes then I'm leaving. She said I wouldn't do that and to please stay there, and hung up. At this point, I'm on the verge of having a panic attack, so I do my breathing exercises, ring her husband, leave a message when he doesn't answer, text him about the situation as well, and also text my mom and leave after 15 minutes as I said. Apparently my sister didn't come home for another 2 hours, and when she did, her husband was with the child and they were both fuming. He got my message 15 minutes after I left, so 30 minutes after I sent it, and now both are refusing to talk to me, saying I endangered the kid's life. I feel like staying would have been worse because the kid slept through it all, and a panic attack may have awakened him to find me a dysfunctional mess. Am I the idiot here? Everyone's the idiot here. Your sister shouldn't have left her kid with someone incapable of taking care of a kid. She can get charged with abandonment. But you left a toddler alone, putting his life in danger and also risking legal trouble. How far away do your parents live? Could you not have called them? Called any local friend? Called the damn cops? Sister is an irresponsible idiot for being gone over 3 hours instead of the promised 30 minutes. I feel she never intended to hang out with OP and just wanted a babysitter but knew OP wouldn't agree. Holy crap, you are the idiot. Do you think your anxiety is more important than the welfare of a little nephew? You can't leave a little kid by themselves. They could have died. Of course your sister is an idiot, but not even near the same scale as you, so I'm not counting it. Anything would have been a better choice, even calling the police. And can you imagine this kid's fear if they'd woken up and saw they were all alone in the middle of the night? So now OP is giving this kid his own case of anxiety and nightmares because of the time Auntie left him all alone for God knows how long. I also don't like that OP calls Dad an absent parent just because he works nights. Working nights does not equal absent parent. He would not be an absent parent if he left work to go check on his child 15 minutes after leaving him a message. OP, you are a terrible person. And sometimes you have to suck it up because you're an adult and don't abandon a child. So I, 31 female, am currently 4 months pregnant with my fiancé, 32 male. We've been together for 7 years and are planning to get married soon. We've been meaning to for years but have never seen it as urgent until we found out that I'm pregnant recently. We're both over the moon and excited. However, I haven't become overcome by mommy fever or anything. Now, I've been lucky enough not to have experienced any morning sickness, nausea or extreme symptoms in my pregnancy. However, last week I started getting absolutely killer headaches. I would describe it as if someone had taken an ice pick to my eyeball. I'm someone who usually drinks 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day for context. I told my husband about these headaches and started to get worried because I thought I would have the flu or maybe something worse, which could be bad for the baby, but he didn't say anything. After a week or so, the headaches pass, but I've noticed I'm much more tired than I used to be. I also tell him this and he still doesn't say anything. Well, this morning, I find a pack of decaf coffee empty in the bin and suddenly it dawns on me what's been happening. I'm the only one of us who drinks coffee and he's the one who did the shop 2 weeks in a row now. I confront him and he admits that when he's offered to do the weekly shop recently, he's just been reusing my usual coffee tin and buying the decaf version of the same product because caffeine is bad for pregnancy. He knows I don't have the will to do it on my own, but look, I've quit now and can spend the rest of the pregnancy without it. He said he didn't want to make me feel bad about my vice by confronting me and that it would be easier to quit if I wasn't doing it intentionally, so he did all 3 of us a massive favour. He points out that I tried to quit caffeine before as a detox a few years ago and only made it 2 days. After that, I lost it and said he was a horrible person. Basically, I started packing my belongings and said that the way he acted was evidence that he not only completely lacked respect for me but also caused me immense stress, knew it, and still didn't own up until I had to confront him. He's refusing to apologise, so I'm staying at a friend's until he does. However, he doesn't think he did anything wrong. He and his friends think I'm being the idiot because he was just doing what's best for his baby's health. I'm completely overreacting, and my reaction is just pregnancy hormones. I'm really upset and feel like I'm making a massive mistake. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This is not about coffee, it's about control. He crossed a boundary by determining what you put in your body without your consent. What other aspects of your diet will he feel entitled to tamper with because he's decided he knows best? Can you trust him to enforce your medical directives during labour if something goes wrong, or will he override you there too? Stay gone until he acknowledges this is a big deal, and if he refuses, start figuring out how you'll co-parent with someone who thinks you don't need to be consulted on decisions that impact you more than him. Would you feel the same if this was cigarettes, alcohol or drugs? Because caffeine is harmful to their baby. 3 or 4 cups of coffee is way too much. Damn, that's too much for anyone, even if you're not pregnant. Studies show that more than 2 cups of coffee per day can negatively affect your baby. My doctor told my wife to stick to 1 at the most, but he would prefer she quit entirely. I'm sorry, you're not going to get me to agree to a slippery slope on bodily autonomy. If it's dangerous enough to require medical intervention, then you talk to the doctor about how to make that happen. Otherwise, you treat your grown adult partner like an adult, not an incubator. Yeah, not admitting the truth is as good as lying. I'm familiar with caffeine headaches, and forcing you to go cold turkey was probably worse. Quitting any addictive substance involves tapering off of it. He lied, disregarded your health and the baby's health, and made choices for your body without communicating to you first. Trust would be out the window for me at this point, and it would take a lot more than an apology to make me return. Just to be upfront, I don't like my mother-in-law at all. We do not get along with each other. We don't argue and are usually civil, but we definitely don't have any depth in our relationship, so I'm not sure if I was just being a petty idiot or not. It was my husband's birthday yesterday, and I organised a birthday dinner for him with his family and his closest friends at a restaurant. I wrote in the greeting card that I would be bringing the cake and had ordered some balloons to decorate the table, which my husband's best friend would take to the restaurant. Everyone saw these messages. The dinner was a surprise. He thought the 2 of us were having a quiet dinner. I knew I needed to pick up the cake, so I told him I had errands to run and I would meet him there. Anyway, I get to the restaurant a few minutes before my husband arrives and ask the maitre d' to put the cake in the kitchen fridge until we're ready for it. Then he tells me that my mother-in-law has brought an ice cream cake, which is so stupid since my husband has allergies, and told them it was our party's cake. I told him that I'd made the reservation and to serve my cake and give the other one back to mother-in-law later. Husband arrived, we all had a lovely dinner, and he loved the cake I bought for him when it was served, though mother-in-law was glaring daggers at me. After we left dinner, she's been texting me, calling me a sneaky cow, and threatening to tell my husband that I purposely excluded her contribution. She will probably call him at work later and exaggerate what happened, so before then, I want to know if I'm the idiot. After all, we could have just served both cakes. You sneaky cow, LOL, what? You sound like a thoughtful and well-communicating wife to me. If she wants to ruin your husband's memory of his birthday, she's incredibly selfish. Let her tell your husband you already arranged a cake and that she still tried to serve a cake he couldn't eat because of allergies. You're not the idiot. You're also not petty or a sneaky cow. Mother-in-law sounds like she is, though. Funny, though, how she called you sneaky when she was the one who snuck a cake into the restaurant. If it were me, I would text her back and tell her, go ahead and tell him. Should I show him all the threads where I told you the cake was covered and then you called me names? And see if she still wants to tell him what happened. If I were being paranoid, I'd say maybe mother-in-law snuck the cake in so that if and when OP's husband had an allergic reaction, she could swoop in and say, what an awful wife bringing a cake he can't eat. Look at these messages where she takes responsibility for arranging it. How terrible. With a mother-in-law like that, how could you not be paranoid? This was my thought as well. One would hope she knew her son had allergies. She was hoping you would just serve her cake and then take the blame for the allergic reaction. Get out in front of this. I'm typing this at the airport before my flight starts boarding. I'm in college. I've been dating Steve for a year. Steve is from a rural town in Ohio where nothing ever happens. He's been begging me to come out to see him over the summer. I considered it until I discovered my 2 best friends would visit their boyfriends in Europe, exchange students. I was not about to waste 2 weeks in stupid Ohio while they were hiking in the Alps with their boyfriends. So I decided, screw it, and now I'm waiting to board a flight to Denver for 6 weeks of hiking and camping across 4 states. Steve has been blowing up my phone and begging me to reconsider. He wants to introduce me to his family and check out life in Ohio for when we graduate next year. I told him no. and hung up when he called me jealous for blowing off Ohio because my friends would have a more excellent summer break than me. I ask if I'm the idiot because my friends were with me when he last called. While we are sick of Steve's crap, they think I may have been harsh when I blew up at him for bugging me about his stupid summer plans. It's not just a vacation, he wants to introduce me to his parents and he wants a life with me in Ducking, Ohio. Am I the idiot? While we are sick of Steve's crap. We? LMFAOOOOO. Is this serious? Do Steve a favour and break up with him. You are the idiot, OP. Imagine if this were the other way around. You want to bring Steve home to meet your family and see your life where you might grow together, and then tells you how annoying your request is and that since his friends are going yachting in the Mediterranean, he will catch a cruise to the Caribbean instead. Sayonara, sister. His friends are sick of your crap, so they're listening in on your calls as he berates you and tells you what a crap idea you had. It makes you feel warm and fuzzy, doesn't it? You would be devastated and tell everyone you've ever met what an idiot he was for it. Except for this time, you're the massive idiot. Just break up with him, although I would much prefer he finds this and breaks up with you. You deserve that. This. I want to know what crap poor Steve has done. He's foolish not to see she isn't for him, but what on earth is he guilty of other than being in love with a cruel person?